Good afternoon, students. In today's lecture, we are going to start a new chapter, that is emerging technologies. So in this chapter, we are introduced with some of the basic technologies that each and everyone should know. So let's see one by one what these technologies are. In this chapter, we are going to learn about Internet of Things, cloud computing, artificial intelligence, and 5G technology. So, first point in this chapter is Internet of Things, that is IoT. But before moving to Internet of Things, see, there is a one word Internet that we all are familiar with it. We all know what does Internet means. What is a basic use of a Internet, or what does Internet do? So we all know that Internet is a or it is a global network of a certain computer networks which helps in sharing of a data. It also helps in communication of us devices, communication with the people. We can communicate with long distance people with the help of a internet. So internet plays a very important role in our day to day life. Now see, even even in this lockdown period, we can see that although we are not able to get out of the house, we are still connected to the people who are miles away from us with the help of this internet, with the help of communication, or we can also video call. We feel that we are talking face to face. We all can do this with the help of internet. So we can say this as a internet of humans. Now what is this internet of things? What do this mean? We can say, now what does things refer here? So in case of internet of things, we can say that it is things means here we can refer like a devices, internet of devices. So internet of things is a concept in which several day to day devices are interconnected with each other. With the help of embedded software, hardware, these certain devices can communicate with each other. So we can say this as a internet of things. See, Internet of Things is the network of physical devices, vehicles, home appliances, and other items embedded with electronics, software, sensors, actuators, and connectivity. Which enable these things to connect, collect, and exchange data, creating opportunities for more direct integration of physical world into computer-based system, resulting in efficiency improvement, economic benefits. This reduces the human effort. Now let's understand this concept of internet of things with a simple example. Like see, for example, there is a heart patient in his home, and he is surrounded with several devices, several latest technologies that are analyzing his health of that patient. And now around at night around 3 o'clock, that patient has some problem in the heart, or some pain. He is suffering from some pain in the heart. So what happens here? Now that patient, in suppose in the hand of that patient there is some sensor implemented. So whenever there is some irregularities in the movement of that heart, that sensor is going to capture those irregularities. So what happens here? Now that patient is surrounded with several devices that are monitoring the health of that patient. So whenever there is some problem detected, what happens? These systems or these devices that are connected to the patient, they are going to inform the nearest hospital about this irregularity. So what happens here? Like there is one hospital at 3 kilometer, there is another hospital at 5 kilometer, some hospital at 10 kilometer. So these devices are implemented in such way that whenever some irregularity is experienced, it will inform the hospital that is nearest to that patient. Okay, so now what happens? Whenever these devices are informing those hospitals, the notification will be arrived at that hospital. So the doctors will be checking that what is a problem. Now these devices are able to send all the reports that have been created related to health of that patient. Then doctor is going to analyze those reports. In that time, when now they have informed that there is some problem to the patient, so they will be sending the ambulance to that patient. Okay, so and in that time up till the patient is visited to the hospital, that doctor is going to analyze all the problems, arrange all the utilities, all the staff that is required to handle the patient. And so what happens, whenever the patient is arrived at the hospital, they are ready to perform the treatment on the patient. Now this was the case in the presence of a internet of things. Now let's consider a case in which same case, but in that internet of things is not available. In this case internet of things doesn't even exist. So now what happens here, same way, there is a patient, he has some problem in the heart at around 3 o'clock. So what happens here, now there is no any devices connected to that patient to analyze his health. So what happens here, the patient itself have to do some movement so that his family members can be aware that he is suffering from some pain. So now family members will arrive, then it will take some time to see what is happening to him, what is actual problem. Then they will try to find some vehicle. Now it is not so easy to find a vehicle at 3 o'clock at night, so it will take some time. Then they will think of calling the ambulance, then it will take some time for ambulance to reach at their target. In the meantime, when ambulance will arrive, then they will take the patient to the hospital. This will consume some time. Now as a patient is arrived at a hospital, then doctors have no idea what the patient is suffering from. In case of a IoT, doctor have already analyzed the reports that were submitted to him with the help of those IoT devices. Now in this case, doctor has no idea what the patient is suffering from. So first doctor have to check the patient, then he have to decide what is the actual problem. Then he will arrange the staff, all the devices that are necessary. This is also time is also consumed here. And after all these things, they are going to start the treatment of that patient. So in this case we can say that internet of things play a very important role in case of life and death of a person. We can also see that the internet of things is applied in our day to day life. Whatever things we are using today, like TV, laptops, mobile phones, or even our vehicles, all those electronic devices, all consist of a internet of things. Means internet of things is those devices that can connect with each other, share the data through each other. Like, see, one more example of internet of things we can say that is a smart house. You must have heard about this concept of a smart house, that whenever the owner enters the house, all the lights are on. Whenever owner locks the house, light becomes off. So all these are day to day examples of a internet of things. So with the help of IoT, certain devices that are connected with each other, they can be monitored and controlled from any remote places. Like, I am in my workplace and I can control my smart home from my workplace also. I can on off the light switches. So internet of things make the human life easy. So there are some characteristics of this IoT. Let's see one by one. First characteristics is unique identity. Now it is important that each and every devices that are implemented in IoT must have its unique identity, because there are several devices included in this IoT and they are communicating with each other. So whenever they want to communicate, it is compulsory that each device should have some unique identity. Like, see, we have our names. Our name is our unique identity. In the crowd of 100 people, our own name is a unique. Whenever someone calls with our name, we can know that someone is calling to us. So our name is a unique identity. So in case of internet of things, each and every devices that are connected with each other, they should have their unique identity, so that they are able to communicate with each other, share the data with another devices. So that was the first common characteristics of IoT. Next characteristic is dynamic nature. Now see, IoT devices are continuously in a dynamic nature. They are never static, or we can say they are never stable. They are always continuously some changes occurring in them. At some time they are in a sleep mode. At other time they will be in a wake. They will wake up. Sometimes that device will be disconnected. At other time they will be connected. So they are always dynamic. They are never stable. Some or other change is happening in these IoT devices, because see, these devices are present in the environment. Okay, they are sensing the environment. Now as we all know that environment is also a dynamic in nature. It is never static. All the changes are happening in environment some or the other time. So whenever these devices are sensing the environment, which is also in dynamic in nature, so it is always compulsory that IoT devices that are communicating with each other, that are they are always dynamic in nature. So that was the characteristics of IoT, that is they have the dynamic nature. Also the number of devices that are included in IoT, they are also changing. Sometimes there will be less number of devices connected, sometimes there will be a large number of devices connected to each other. So it is always necessary that we have to maintain this dynamic nature of IoT. Now next, see third characteristics, that is self adapting. Now best example of self adaptation of IoT is a example of surveillance cameras. Like we can see that whenever these cameras are working, they are always working 24 into 7 hours. So even in the daylight, even in the night time. Now it is obvious that whatever the camera is capturing in the daylight, it cannot capture same performance in the night time, because in the night time light is not available. So there is some different function, there is some different system for these cameras to work in the night. So what happens here, now in a daytime there is a certain intensity of a light, then whenever evening begins, the intensity of this light becomes low, the threshold of this light becomes low. So the camera is going to sense this. Whenever the camera sense that there is some there is a decrease in the intensity of light, it will automatically adapt itself to night mode, so that night vision is on, and then it will capture the video in the night mode. So what happens here, these surveillance cameras are adapting themselves to the changing environment. So all these devices that are included in IoT, they have the capability to adapt or accept the changes that are happening in the environment. So we can say that the IoT devices have the capability to self adapt itself. Now next characteristics is self configuration. Now in this case, IoT devices have the capability to configure themselves. Like see, if we have any issues related to network, these IoT devices inform us, or they handle the issue themselves. Okay, then if there are some software upgrades in our mobiles or laptops, they inform us automatically. Okay, so all these changes in the devices that are included in IoT are able to configure themselves with less human intervention. So humans don't have to intervene in this all these things. The IoT devices are automatically configuring all these possible issues that are appear in this internet. So these devices have the capability to configure themselves, or we can say handle all the issues by themselves. Next characteristics is heterogeneity. Now see, there are many different devices included in IoT. Again, each device has its own hardware, different hardware for different devices. Again, different communication protocols have been implemented for all these devices. Okay, so among all these factors, all these differences, the Internet of Things is successfully standing and implementing itself in this in all this crowd. Why? Because of its heterogeneous nature. Even though all these differences are available for different devices, large number of devices are included in IoT. All these devices are able to manage themselves, control themselves, okay, configure themselves, again adapt themselves as per the nature, because all these devices are included in the environment which is always sensing some or other change. So it is a very difficult task to implement some itself in this changing environment, in this large number of devices, different hardwares, different protocols, and among all these IoT is successfully standing and implementing themselves because of its heterogeneous nature. So this was the main characteristics, that is heterogeneity of IoT. Last characteristics is integration to information network. Now what does this mean? Now in this case, let's consider an example of weather monitoring system. Okay, now see, in case of weather monitoring system, what happens? There are several weather sensing devices that are located at some location far from each other. So what are these devices going to do? They are going to sense the environment, again collect the data whatever they have analyzed, collect the data, and all these devices are going to transfer this data to their central location. Okay, so now what happens in this central location? This location is acquiring all the data from these devices that are located far from each other. So when these devices collecting the data from these devices, it is going to analyze the data that have been received from these devices. Now after the analysis is done, this central location is going to create an accurate weather report based on this data. So like this example, we can see that in our day to day life also, whatever devices are included in IoT, all are communicating, or we can say all are working together to achieve the common goal. So all these devices are integrated by a common network to perform some common activity. So we can say that these devices are integrated to information network. So these were the characteristics of Internet of Things. Now let's see advantages of IoT. First point is efficient resource utilization. In that, see, if we know the functionality and the way how each device works, we definitely increase the efficient resource utilization as well as monitor the natural resources. Now see, as we all know that Internet of Things is a network of physical devices, vehicles and some other items that are embedded with certain software, and they are connected to each other so that they can share the data. So in order to use this, we all it is very important that we all should know how each and every device should be controlled, how we can use these devices. Like if we are using certain device, then we have to it is important that we know its functionality, what output we want from that device and how can we get it. So if we have the complete knowledge about the devices that we are using, then and only then we can have the benefit from those devices. Only then we will get the whatever required output we want from those devices. We can get that only if the we know the functionality of the devices. So it is important that whatever devices are included in a IoT, its resource utilization should be correctly done. Now second point is minimize the human effort. As the devices of IoT interact and communicate with each other and do lot of tasks for us, they minimize the human effort. This is very common and in case of all the devices, because all these devices are implemented to reduce the human effort. Even our internet makes the things easy for us to find out the information, or even other problems related to communication, data transfer. Internet make these things easy. So in a same way, internet in case of Internet of Things, it is also plays important role in minimizing the human effort. Like we have seen in the example of a smart house. If a smart house automatic system is implemented, then the owner of that house don't have to take care whether switch is on or off. He can just lock the house and the switches will be automatically turned off. So IoT plays important role in minimizing the human efforts. The next point is Time saving, as it reduces the human effort, then it definitely saves out time is primary factor in automation which can save through IoT platform. Now this is common because as they have said that if human efforts are reduced, then time will be automatically reduced. Like see, I have given an example in the beginning when at the time of introduction of IT, I have given the example about a heart patient. See, in that we have considered two scenarios. In one scenario we have considered the cases of in case of IoT. So what the patient will suffer if the IoT is present, and in another cases we have considered the situation in which IoT doesn't exist. So in that case what happened, in the case where IoT is present, all the activities, all the necessary activities that were important were performed in a short time, and in another scenario the same activities took a lot of a time. So time plays an important role in IoT. So IoT is also very important in case of a life and death of a person. So this is a very important advantage of a IoT, that is it saves the time. Next point is enhanced data collection. IoT devices can connect data from environment like weather, sound, pollution, etc. This data can be used to take decision. Even this example we have seen in case of this example we have seen like the weather monitoring system. In weather monitoring system, what happened, so several devices that were located in far away places collected the data to a central location. So that was the main advantage, that is enhanced data collection. IoT devices can collect data from environment, means it is sensing the environment, then analyzing it, collecting the data, and based on that analysis it is providing the proper output. Like in case of weather monitoring system, it collected data from several locations and then collected the data to central location, and then created a accurate weather report. So IoT plays a very important role whenever we want to do data collection. And next is last point is improve security. IoT based security system can make home or office environment secure. Yes, this is also very important. IoT also improves security. In case of your mobile laptops, we can see that there are the logs or fingerprint, so that only the owner of the mobile or laptops or any other devices can open those, can use those device. Again say in a case of a smart home also, we can see there is security plays very important role. Whenever the owner of that smart home can unlock or lock his house from any location, even though he is far away from his house, he can control all those devices. Like see, if now owner has locked his home and he's at his workplace, so if some intruder enters in his campus, then he will be alert, he will receive the alert from, if with the help of these IoT devices, that somebody has intruded in his campus. So even with the help of, now he has the surveillance camera, so even he can look the images of that. If he is the some relative, then he can unlock his house from his location. If he is a thief, then he will keep his house locked. So with the help of the IoT, security is improved or enhanced, because in today's world security plays a very important role, and it has to be applied in everywhere. So these were the some advantages of IoT. Now let's see disadvantages of IoT. First is a privacy. Even without the active participation on the user, the IoT system provides substantial personal data in maximum detail. Now this happens in some rare case, or we can say in some devices, that even though the owner of the device is not present, sometimes those devices provide the maximum data about that owner, or whatever data is collected within that device can be provided to someone else. So in this case, the we can say that IoT devices cannot be safe. So we can avoid this by improving our security policies, so this can be prevented. Next disadvantage is complexity. The designing, developing, maintaining, and enabling the large technology to IoT system is quite complicated. As we have seen in the advantages, that it is very important, if we want that the complete benefit of the IoT devices that we are using, then it is important that we should have the proper knowledge about how to operate those devices, how to control those devices, so that we can get proper or required output. So in some cases, some of the devices are very complex, or functioning of the device is very complex. So normal people are not able to know that how it is going to be designed, or how we can function those devices. So most of the time, the more the device is useful, or more the device is attractive, the functionality or the designing of that device is very complex to understand by a normal user. So it may be possible that we could keep the IoT devices as a user friendly, so that any a person who is going to interact with the device can perform the functionality of that device without any problem. So this was complexity is one of the problem related to the IoT devices. So it can be handled if we try to keep the functionality or designing of that device in a user friendly manner. Now let's see applications of IoT. Now there are we can say unlimited applications of IoT, as we are using in a day to day life. Their use of a IoT is very important. So let's see one by one. First is a smart lighting. Illumination of light is controlled on the basis of daylight. We can see this example of smart lighting even in the smart home. In this case, how those light are controlled on the basis of a daylight. Like there may be sensors that they will sense the intensity of the light. If the daylight intensity of the light becomes low and low, those IoT devices are going to sense that now it is a night time, so it will automatically turn on the light of the house. So that this is the use of a IoT devices in case of smart lighting. Next, smart thermostats allows user to schedule, monitor, and remotely control home temperatures. So the best example of this is AC. We control the AC as per our needs. We can also increase the temperature, decrease the temperature, whatever is suitable for us. We can control those devices as per our needs. Next is smart lock and garage door openers, password based or facial recognition based doors and locks. Yeah, smart locks is a commonly used, like even in our mobile phones we can use face lock. So only if and only if our face is used as a to unlock the phone, it will be unlocked. Or we can use fingerprints. This can be even done in the like you must have seen in the large offices that fingerprint scanner are used. Again, face locks are used, so that only whoever is registered with its identity can enter the office. So smart locks are very useful in today's world. Next is smart security cameras. Security cameras that can identify known and unknown person and raise alarm in case of a security threat. So nowadays even security cameras have been upgraded to its extreme level. Like they can even we can include the data of the persons that are known to us, so that whenever the person around apart from the data that we have included is entered into a campus, and security alarm will be raised. There are many more security functions that are included in this security cameras. So security cameras also play a important role in case of IoT devices. And nowadays almost most of the houses or offices, schools, public places have security cameras, so they play a very important role. And next is the smart traffic signal that can adjust their timing to accommodate commutes and holiday traffic and keep cars moving. See, in this case, we can also see that there are some upgraded traffic signals that automatically detect whenever some emergency vehicles are passing. Like, see, if some ambulance is passing, that they will automatically inform those drivers or vehicle who are those who are operating the vehicles, will be automatically informed that there is some kind of emergency, and there will be red light displayed or some instruction will be displayed. So these smart traffic signals are now also available. They will correctly inform the peoples what action has to be taken in case of emergency. So these were some of the basic applications of IoT. Usually there are many applications of IoT which cannot be counted, because in every our day to day activity IoT is present. It has become a part of our today's life. So these were some basic things related to internet of things. So what can we say, how can we define internet things? It is nothing but network of a physical devices that we use in our day to day life, which are connected to each other to share the information. Then with the help of some software sensors which gives us appropriate output, appropriate results when required. We can say all these things that are connected with the help of internet. So that is the main concept of internet of things. So that's all for today. I hope you have understand the concept of IoT. In tomorrow's lecture we will be learning about cloud computing. Thank you.